Yes, I would like to book an appointment for a blowout this Thursday at 11. Okay, perfect. See you then. Oh, wait. Let me see if I can write this off. What is up, everybody? My name is Tyra and welcome back to Keeper Tax, your one-stop shop for all things 1099 taxes. Here on this channel, we create resources for freelancers, independent contractors, gig workers, and anyone else who files or should be filing business taxes. Now, what if I told you you could write off haircuts and makeup? Would you believe me? Well, today we are diving into the world of personal appearance deductions because it's an entire world that I just recently found out about. Did you know that Donald Trump deducted $70,000 for his haircuts and hairstyling when he was filming The Apprentice? Y'all, I'm serious. The article is right here. Now, let's get to the bottom of this, shall we? Even if we are not like Donald Trump, some of us freelancers and independent contractors still have to look our best for our 1099 work. This might be true if you are an influencer, model, or even an actor, just to name a few. But watch out, these types of expenses are harder to write off than you might think. But I've got you covered. Just keep on watching and I'll tell you how to make sure you don't get in trouble for trying to write off something that you're not supposed to. So before we get into how you can deduct these types of expenses, you first need to know which of these types of expenses can be deducted. You will hear this a lot on this channel, but these expenses have to be ordinary and necessary. It's super important to how the IRS determines what is a legitimate business expense. So ordinary means it's common and accepted in your field of work. So other people doing your same type of work may also spend money on this type of expense. So if you're an Uber driver and you're trying to write off industrial printing equipment for some reason, that probably won't be an ordinary expense since basically no other Uber driver is doing that. Now, necessary means it's something that's helpful and appropriate for you to do your work. When it comes down to it, what you spend on maintaining your appearance is only tax deductible if it's something that you need for work, but can't really benefit from outside of work. So if you have a normal haircut that you've been getting for 20 years and you started your business 5 years ago, that haircut probably won't be tax deductible. That makes it pretty similar to writing off clothing, which we actually have a full video on, so be sure to check that out if you have a work uniform or clothing items you pay for to complete your job. We have that video linked down below in the description box. But appearance expenses like haircuts and makeup are the same way as the clothing and uniform. So let me clear this up with some examples. Okay, so I already mentioned Trump's haircut deduction earlier. Turns out most accountants were pretty skeptical of that, and technically you can only deduct haircuts and hairstyling if you use them for work-related photo shoots or shows. But you don't then go off and live your life with that same hairstyle. So if you're an actor and you get a really weird haircut for a shoot, but then you have to get it recut or even wear a wig after you're done filming, that would definitely be a write-off. Or if you do a photo shoot and you have your hair elaborately styled just for the shoot and undo it all after you go home, then that would count too. You can also write off the makeup you use for photo shoots and appearances, but not if you wear the same makeup outside of work. Special effects makeup or stage makeup would work, but not your Anastasia Beverly Hills palette that you use to create your everyday glam look, okay? So let me give you an example of what I mean. Over the top lashes like this would definitely be considered a write-off. So the same goes for manicures for photo shoots and filing. If you're a bodybuilder, you can also deduct the cost of the body oil you use for competition. So here is a pro tip for you. If you plan on writing off your makeup, get it from a professional supplier instead of a drugstore or Sephora. That way it can be easier to prove that you needed it for work. And you can even use the Keeper Tax app, which is an app to automatically scan beauty supply stores for write-offs. So when I found out about this, my mind was blown because I had to get this super elaborate manicure for a commercial where they shoot close-ups of my hands. The producers wanted me to get this done on my own before coming into set. Since I don't normally get my nails done and it was required for work, I was able to write off that expense. I also want to throw in very quickly that these rules also apply to plastic surgery. What are the odds? So fun fact, there was this exotic dancer back in 1994 who argued that her breast augmentation made her more successful in her profession and she would have her breasts reduced once she retired. And the tax court judge actually ruled in her favor. Now, we aren't going to deep dive into that today, but if you would like to learn more about writing off your cosmetic surgery, let me know down in the comments. But all in all, the bottom line is that you have to be able to prove to the IRS that whatever you are spending money on is an ordinary and necessary expense that is useful for work and only work. If it meets that bar, then it is a write-off. Well, you guys, that is all that I have for you guys today. If you have any questions about anything that I mentioned in today's video, as always, leave a comment down below. If you would like more easy to digest tax content, make sure you give this video a like, and if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and make sure your notifications are on so you can get all of the alerts and stay up to date with all things self-employed taxes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm glad that you guys could still pay attention even though I had on these beautifully elaborate eyelashes. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.